Remember those school presentations, going before the group to talk about a topic? A common emotion attached to that is lingering dread, waiting for your turn to face the class. Gordo principal Mark Capps is out of his school-age phase, and in 2019, any apprehension he had going before the Board of Education for Pickens County Schools didn't have to do with fear. It had to do with funding.
$1 million, it kind of, got everybody's head spinning.
Capps was looking for help funding a $1 million synthetic turf field for Gordo High School. At the time, the number was roughly 22 times the median family income for Pickens County.
A lot of it was $1 million. You're going to spend $1 million on a football field. And that was easy to discuss with them. We could show them long-term how the board was going to save money.
The project's long-term cost efficiency, savings over 30 years, was a sound argument for the school board. It did not speak to the coaches and players that play on it. Their interest is the time savings calculation.
You're not mowing, you're not lining, you're not spraying, you're not fixing irrigation. All of that has gone away.
If you're responsible for those things, it can make you a better coach because you're not doing those things.
Mitchell and Lawley are on opposite sides of the synthetic turf experience. Lawley's teams have played home games on natural grass in 22 of 23 seasons as a high school coach. When Mitchell arrived at Hillcrest in 2021, he made getting a synthetic turf field a priority, just as it had been at his last 3 coaching stops.
Now I think we've built in the last 5 years upwards to 100 athletic playing fields within our state. There's been stretches, and I'll say stretches as far as year to year, where 9 out of 10 fields that we've built have been synthetic turf.
Daniel Ruggiero is the co-owner of Game Day Athletic Surfaces and a former director of field operations for a professional baseball team. At one point, he was like some of the traditionalists that push back at the artificial turf trend.
There's a lot of apprehension. I'll even say for me, I had a disdain in how I looked at the synthetic turf industry and how I looked at synthetic turf in general. This is not maintenance free.
With synthetic turf, what you see is what you get. The variables lie in what you don't see. Small pieces of material made of rubber, cork, even coconut shell, which is spread evenly across the surface.
And if you've been on it for 60 hours, you need to groom it, for a 24-hour period to kind of level things back out.
But there is cost to upkeep that field, what does that look like? You can't just go out there and it be good for the next 20 years. We rake it, brush it, I guess is a better term.
Synthetic turf also has a lifespan and needs to be replaced on average every 10 years. That process is $500,000. In deciding whether the investment in synthetic turf, $1 million to install and $500,000 every 10 years, is right, schools need to ask how much play is the playing field getting.
The foot traffic is huge. For instance, if the field is going to house the junior varsity and varsity, it's gonna also be the facility that's used for practice, and then maybe the rec league is out there on Saturdays for football season. That's just not a realistic expectation for a natural grass field to hold up to without various sodding requirements and an intense maintenance schedule that a lot of times this is not realistic in a yearly budget for a lot of our high schools within our great state.
Our baseball teams, our softball teams, they can practice out there, our band, on days that it's wet.
One widely held misconception is synthetic turf is not as safe as natural grass. That long-standing belief goes back to the old artificial turf.
When they think of turf, they think of, the old turf at Legion Field, which is basically like, being on green concrete.
I just don't think you're going to get much difference in as far as the ability to plant and cut. I don't think there's much difference.
So to sit and say that one playing surface is safer or inferior to the other, and that's just all there is to it, is just not true.
There is one edge that grass has on synthetic turf. Science cannot handle the heat as well. On the hottest days, the temperature on a synthetic turf field will be as much as 50 degrees more. 95 degrees outside becomes 145 on the field.
July and August, it's hotter. There's no question about it.
They're spending millions of dollars right now trying to figure ways to keep a turf field cooler.
Trends are cyclical. Ruggiero says in the past 2 years, his company has seen a 50-50 split in synthetic and natural grass projects. It's like the old expression says, the grass is always greener on the other side.